Hi, everybody. This is Trillionaire Meeting #1. We got Daniel Norwick, or Dan Norwick for short.
What's
He's
up?
a producer, multi-instrumentalist. He's a techie, and he's the best synthesizer guy I know.
Oh,
If I have any like synth questions or anything, I hit him right up. So that's the guy for that one.
thank you, thank you. I
How
appreciate
you
it.
doing, Dan?
Good, man. How you doing?
Pretty cool. Yeah, just
Yeah,
chilling out.
it's an honor to be here on the Trillionaire podcast.
Oh yeah,
Always good to talk to you. Oh, I always appreciate having chats with you, and we always have good mind-bending chats when it comes to music production or just life in general and stuff. It's always fun.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, how's it going? Like in quarantine in LA right now?
It's been all right. I mean, everybody's still pretty much on lockdown, but it's I don't know. People are getting, I guess, a bit stir crazy. So people are going out a bit more, just going about their days a bit more, still being careful, I think. But there's a fair amount of people just going out and doing stuff. I've been in the process of a move, moving in with my girlfriend here in Long Beach, and then
For
also
sure.
getting a new studio. I got a production studio in San Pedro, which is not too far from here. So yeah, just trying to keep busy and you know, trying to keep my mind off of the craziness that's going on in the world.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
it could be a bit daunting. So just trying to stay occupied and get new hobbies and stuff. How about you? How's everything going up in Oakland?
Pretty interesting up here too. It's kind of ghost town, but people are starting to come out.
Yeah.
And but pretty much I just been pretty much either home or the studio, back and forth.
Hmm.
And I at the grocery store whenever I need to. But
Hmm.
yeah,
That's good. I mean, it's important to for I don't know, for me, I just try to keep my mind occupied. So if I'm home and I'm getting a little stir crazy or whatever, I'll just like pick up a book and start reading or start researching something I'm interested, just to distract myself from whatever's
yeah,
going
for
on.
sure. Yeah, that's a good segue. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, how do you find like inspiration? Because it's kind of hard to be inspired right now without like having like a story or something, or like seeing something while you're out or
That's a good
stuff
question.
like that. Yeah, it's kind of hard to find inspiration, at least
Uh,
for me.
I agree. To be honest, like as far as my music is concerned, I haven't done as much music in quarantine as I would have liked to, or as much as I thought I would. In the beginning, the first couple weeks, I was still making a lot of stuff, but then I think like what you're saying is the inspiration of just like everyday life and seeing new things all the time. Just kind
Yeah,
of
for sure.
for me was just kind of a I don't know. I just wasn't feeling musically inspired, I guess. But I was inspired to just pursue other things that I was interested in. So, like studying mycology, like trying to learn how to grow mushrooms or something, because I have tons of plants and I've always been into plants. So, just trying to learn how to like grow your own food, basically, like gourmet mushrooms and making ginger beer. I've been making this ginger beer. I learned how to make ginger beer
Oh yeah.
it's pretty easy. It's a lot like making sourdough. It's just ginger, sugar, and water, and then you ferment it over the course of a few days. You can look it up online. It's pretty easy how to do, and
Okay.
exciting. It's like fun, and now I get to drink this like delicious ginger beer. I drink it all the time now. It's like healthy for you and stuff.
So ginger, sugar, and water.
Yeah, ginger on the outside of the skin of the ginger. There's like bacteria and microbes growing, which is like the natural yeast that'll start to ferment the process. So you keep the skin on the ginger. You take a piece about that big, and then you chop it up and you put it in about a pint of water, and then you put 2 teaspoons, 2 tablespoons of sugar. You can look up the proper directions. I'm sure I'm messing it up a little bit, but
Do you use like cane sugar or brown sugar?
yeah, I just use white cane sugar. You can use brown sugar too. They said, just don't use like syrups and stuff because it's too hard for the the yeast to like break it down. And then you
Okay.
every day you put in a little bit more ginger and a little bit more sugar every day for like 5 days, and then by like the fifth day, you'll see it starts getting like a little bubbly and fizzy on top,
Mm-hmm.
and then that is your ginger bug. It's called. You have your ginger bug, and then and sorry, I'm going off on this because I'm excited about it.
Now this is cool. Yeah, for sure.
You have your ginger bug, and then And then what you do is when your ginger bug is ready after those 5 days, then you make a big pot of tea, any kind of tea you want, which is going to be your brew. So you can really make anything you want. But I usually just do like a big ginger tea brew and put some spices in it, put like cinnamon and cloves and stuff just to give it a little extra flavor. And
Okay.
put about 2 or 2.5 cups of sugar in that brew while you're making it. Let it all boil, and then after that, um, you let it cool down to room temperature because if it's too hot, then it'll kill the ginger bug. So you let it cool down to room temperature, and you strain it all out, and then you take your ginger bug and you take about 1 cup of your ginger bug and you mix it in with that big brew
Okay.
after room temperature, and then you bottle it up, and then you put it in these bottles, which I have one right here actually. You put it in these bottles. Um, you can buy on Amazon. I get 6 of them for like $30,
Okay.
and they have a sealing top, so you can like kind of snap it shut, and it seals and holds pressure. Um, and then it builds carbonation because it's doing the fermentation process in the bottle. So it actually builds up carbonation, gets pressurized. So when you pop it, I mean, this one I opened like 5 minutes ago. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
didn't didn't have a lot of pressure, but I had because I opened it 5 minutes ago. Um, but yeah, it's exciting. And then you have your ginger beer, and so you let it stay in the bottle at room temperature, like on the counter or something, for about 3 or 4 days. Whenever you think it's ready, you should check it every day and open the bottle and pop
Okay.
the bottle. But do it near a sink because it usually foams over. And yeah, that's has been my excitement with the ginger beer. And now, so this was my third brew, and then I'm gonna be doing another one probably tomorrow.
That's super super cool.
I just got a
Yeah,
new
for
bottle.
sure.
I'm just excited. And every time I experiment with the brew a little bit, like sometimes I put a little more spices. This time actually isn't very spicy at all. I use a lot less ginger, and has a lot less flavor. So it's really kind of like a carbonated, like watered down ginger aid, I guess. I don't know,
Hmm.
but it's like bubbly. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, that's super super cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just pursuing like these things that I am interested in, I just like let that guide me. And then I just like, okay. And then I just do a deep dive and just like allow my interests to just guide me in distracting myself from whatever's going on in the world, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Just let it occupy all my time because it's fun. And I mean, if not now, when we're all, you know, holed up in apartments and houses and stuff, like if we can't do it now, when can you do it? So it's like,
Yeah.
just start, if you have the time now, it's time to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super super cool. Yeah, it's like people are like grabbing internet real estate now. It's either people are getting internet real estate or they're kind of like putting out so much stuff that's clogging
Hmm.
the internet real estate.
Yeah, I've noticed. I agree with that because there's certain things that I like to watch. Questlove does this great live DJ thing
Hmm.
and on Instagram and like a bunch of streaming platforms, and I like it because it's almost like a music history lesson. Like throughout each song, like he has a probably like a what is it, a low pass filter or high cut filter. So
Hmm.
like he has a microphone, and like as the song's on, when he wants to talk, he'll just use the high cut filter so he can speak over the music clearly. And he just tells you like little tidbits about like the musicians that are in that record that he's playing, or who used that record as samples in their hip hop records or whatever. And it's just like a super interesting history lesson. So yeah, like watching things like that are great, but also like you were saying about the internet real estate is, when I open Instagram or whatever, especially on a Friday or Saturday,
Yeah, for sure.
I open it and I see that there's like, um, is what is it like the live streams that are current? It's like across the top, and there's like 10 or 20 people live streaming at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people posting videos. There's a lot of musicians making live music from home because they can't perform live, out at venues anymore at the moment. So it's the only thing they can do, either that or write music. And if you're writing music, you might as well be doing it with an audience in front of you. Excuse me. And yeah, so yeah, I agree with the internet real estate. There's a lot
Yeah,
of people just taking up like a lot of times I don't even want to go on Facebook or Instagram because there's just so much.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff out there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was I'm getting ready to take a break. I'm getting ready to only listen to vinyl or CDs,
Nice.
for music, and then I'm gonna like just get some DVDs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
for like maybe like 2 weeks.
Dude, I don't even have a DVD player anymore. I have a couple DVDs, and I'm like, saw them the other day because I'm moving. So I find my DVDs, and I'm like, huh. And then I'm just thinking, I'm like, I don't even think I have a DVD player. I don't even think I'm playing this anymore. I don't even know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're out there though. I'm sure you could find them in vintage stores now.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's crazy right there. Like I know I'm not super old, but stuff like that makes you feel like you're getting older.
Yeah.
Like I just remember like going in Hollywood Video, and we used to have to pick. We only had two movies. To be like, okay, y'all, like you and your brother gotta both get one movie. So it used to be like really having to choose that one movie. But now everything is just out there. You can just watch whatever you want to,
Yeah.
like whenever. It's kind of weird. It's something cool about it, but it's something that kind of sucks about it too.
Yeah, I agree. There's something sometimes when I'm watching or when I'm gonna watch Netflix or something. I think the biggest uh, pain in the pain in the butt about having this many options is that I'll spend I don't even know how much time just like going through like what I could watch, just going down the list, just
Hmm.
like searching for something instead of back in the day I would just turn on the TV and whatever's on, you're just watching whatever's on because you might be flipping channels or something, but you're like, this is the best I got right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Halfway through the movie, you don't know how it started, but you're just like, oh, whatever. It seems like a cool action movie. I'll watch it from here. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you see what YouTube is doing? That's kind of weird. They let you watch 4 ads. Like it'll say, do you want to just watch 4 ads right now, or do you want to just watch during the video? So they give you an option if you want to like get all the ads out the way and then like
I
have
think
some watch time.
I think that's good because then it's like less interruptions in the middle of conversations and stuff. Like, because it's such a pain in the ass when people are like mid conversation and then you get an ad and then you're just like, you kind of lose your flow of the or your state of mind and that you're getting distracted with the ad. And yeah, I think that's good if you have that option because then you can. I would prefer to get them all out of the way. I would click, yeah, sure, get them out of the way, and then I'll go to the bathroom or something. Like go get a drink from the kitchen.
Yeah, for
Wait
sure.
for the ads to be over. But actually, that's not always true. I got to be honest. Like lately, I actually am paying closer attention to the ads now because of the music and just trying to listen like whatever music is being used in ads.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to be like, that's I think that's something I could do, or just checking the general vibe of what's being used at the moment in ads to try and figure out a way to try and get something licensed.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, that stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's it's also a thing of where there's so much stuff out there, and this is more on like the advice side of things because there's a lot of people giving advice on like even like real estate or buying property, and I think there should be some sort of a process where people qualify, those kind of people before they can like put out that kind of content. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, I agree. It's hard to know um, who and what to trust on the internet.
yeah, it's pretty weird.
So
Like one topic, and you watch 5 different videos about one topic, and they all say 5 different things.
yeah,
Like barely any overlap.
yeah, I agree. There's sometimes there's just too many people putting things out there of too many people making videos, too much content of people that are just overly confident but don't really have the information to be giving out like real information like that.
Yeah,
Like they have the confidence to be in front of the camera and making a video and posting it to followers, but they're not really researching well enough. They just want to be on camera. They just want eyes on them. They're not as interested as getting either the right information across or something useful. They just like being in front of a camera and having eyes on them instead of someone who really does their research. For me, I think the best things that I find, or the most the ones that I trust the most, the things that I find online are someone that I watch that like I've seen a bunch of their videos, or like I feel like I know who they are a little bit, you know, just so I feel like I have a better judge of character, rather than just seeing one video from one person. I'm like, I don't know if I could believe this or not. This guy might be full of shit. But if you see, a few dozen videos from someone, or if they at least have a lot of stuff out there that you can watch, and then you watch it, and then you make your decision of whether or not you think they're full of shit. I mean, some of the best podcasts, some of the people that I like the most, or the biggest ones out there, like Joe Rogan, is probably the biggest podcast in the world, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like that.
Yeah, Joe Budden too. Joe Budden that's my favorite one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Joe Rogan, like I like watching his show, and I trust a lot of the things he says, but also like I still question things that he says, or even opinions that he has. I think it's no matter who you're watching, even if it is a trustworthy source, you should always be questioning whether or not you agree with them, first of all, or if they're right. And I think someone who's good at giving information will will say themselves like, hey, like do the research yourself. Like this is my input, this is what I have to explain, and what my experience has been. But do research and make the decision for yourself. And um, trust your instincts, or just try and do the proper research yourself, because like you were saying, there's going to be 5 different videos with 5 completely different standpoints. But if you watch enough of them, you might you might see that there's like one thing that they all do, and you're like, okay, I don't know about all this other stuff, but I know they all do this one thing. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's like, at least I know that's like a integral part in whatever the process is that you're learning about doing, or whatever you're researching, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's super, super cool. So yeah, let me see. Die. Awkward section.
Nah, there's no awkward section. Just do a little break.
Awkward section number 2.
No.
Oh yeah, speaking of awkward section, I got some Simpsons episodes. I'm a little scared to watch watch the Simpsons right now.
Oh yeah, because they predict
Yeah,
everything.
they're just on it. Like even if it's something crazy in there, like it just yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like anything that's been on The Simpsons that hasn't happened yet is just like going to be somewhere in the future.
Yeah,
It's just like foretelling the future somehow.
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories of people saying that they got a time machine, half as a joke, but also like maybe kind of half serious.
Yeah, yeah,
A time machine somewhere, and then they're making all these things. I don't know.
yeah. They got a time machine, or let me see what I was about to say. It was one. Yeah, even the Simpsons movie is pretty freaky.
Is that the one where they got the dome?
Yeah, like
Yeah, like quarantine, right?
yeah, but I think they'll probably do that. I think they'll probably put a bowl over an entire area at some point. They'll probably actually try to do something like that.
Maybe. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know, dude. It's you never I never know what's gonna happen. I think quarantining and people staying inside their homes is a good idea, but it does get scary if they're gonna try and like really, isolate and wall up some people, and tell them they can't go anywhere. That gets a little scary.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts right there. Yeah.
Mm. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think there's too many people that would fight back against something like that. I don't think that's gonna happen. But you
Yeah.
never know. It might happen in certain areas where people don't have as much power or something. I don't know. Never know what's gonna happen. I guess just check The Simpsons and see.
Yeah.
If it happened in a movie, maybe it will happen. Who knows?
Yeah. Somewhere between like Simpsons and like Dave Chappelle. It's just like those two things just kind of freak me out. But yeah. But yeah, on a lighter note though, yeah,
Oh, dude, I want to say that I watched that Miles Davis documentary.
Birth of a Cool.
Dude, it was so good.
Yeah, that thing is super super cool.
Dude, it was so good. Really well done. I like his whole story. And one thing I was gonna say about him is that it's awesome that he was always like reinventing himself.
Yeah,
Always. Every time like he would make a couple of albums and then, you know, those guys would get famous from playing with him and then they would start to go off and do their own thing. And then he'd just be like, okay, bring in some new guys. Like, and he'd bring in some young new guys that are just fresh, you know?
yeah, for
And
sure.
give him the most vague instructions like we're going to be playing in this key, this is how the progression goes, but play it however you want, and just like really just play, man. And
Yeah,
it was very
yeah,
improvisational.
yeah.
Really,
Classics. Yeah,
really like that, the improvisational like way that he went about doing things. I
yeah,
thought that
for
was,
sure. Yeah, his last album was pretty interesting too. It was like him playing over break beats. Did you ever
oh,
hear his? Let me see.
I don't think I saw it,
Yeah,
but
it's a
I mean maybe I have, like, thinking back on it, but
oh yeah, everybody, that's my Rolls Royce laptop background. You
nice.
know, that's the Wraith.
Yeah,
So yeah, I like the 2016 Wraith.
that's the one you got in your sights.
Yeah,
Nice. That's a nice car, man.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see, Miles Davis.
Yeah, he's just, man, what a classic.
Yeah, super super cool.
Yeah.
But
I like such an innovator.
it was this album right here
Oh yeah, I feel like
from '92.
it's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna have to listen to that album today.
Yeah, it's super super cool.
Yeah. He's dude, what an awesome. I mean, he definitely went crazy at like many points in his life, but you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
little bit of a damaged soul. But man, he made some fucking cool music. And a lot of so many fucking amazing artists came out of playing with him.
Yeah, for sure.
Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, like they
Yeah.
all kind of like, I'm sure they had stuff going on before they met him because they were so talented already, and
Mm-hmm.
he
Yeah,
obviously played
Coltrane too.
for a reason. Yeah, Coltrane too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that first band of theirs.
Yeah, super, super cool. Yeah, that kind of blue album was when they did that Moto Jazz thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's super
really
crazy.
yeah, always innovative, always reinventing. So I think I think for me that's something I take away from that. I'm like, obviously I can't do anything remotely close to what he is. Everybody's a unique individual, but if there's something to take away from what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
people can take with them and do, is that I think he was always reinventing himself. He was always, he wasn't trying to cling on to the past. He was always like, they said that even in his house, like he didn't have any copies of his older albums. Like he never listened to them. And, I think that's kind of good because you can kind of dwell on the past sometimes, good and bad. Um, you can you can look back at your accomplishments, which is positive, but then, you don't want that to really go to your head too much. And then
Yeah, for sure.
also, you don't want to look back on the negative things and just have them haunting you. It's like you got to move on, no matter what it is. So really, just
Yeah, you just gotta just look forward. Yeah.
forward, man. Look forward. That's what I took from the film, from what he was doing with his life, and I'm just like, just look forward, because I find a lot of times I look back or whatever,
Yeah, for sure.
wrapped up in a thought loop or something.
Hey, that's just something cool to hear though, for sure. Just look forward. Like that's just good to hear right now.
Yeah, well, especially in the times we're in, right? I mean, we got a lot of time to sit and think right now, and that can be dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Big time.
So I think it's good to look forward and try and plan for things. I think that's the biggest thing, is to like plan for things in the future, even if they might seem too big. You just kind of make steps. I had a thought earlier. Sorry if I'm ranting,
Oh
but
no, you got it.
I had a thought earlier where it was kind of about that, and like accomplishments, and like trying to plan for the future and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every single plan that you make, or even if it's just like a simple thing, you could break it down into like many other little steps. So like for instance, like this simplest thing, if you're just like, if you just take like this simplest example of like, I'm going to get a glass of water, right? Like it's one thing, it's very simple, but you could break that down into a million little steps. Like, oh, first I have to get up and then I have to walk to the kitchen. I might need to rinse a glass out. I need to go, and then I go fill it up, and then I'll take a sip, and then maybe I'll go to sit back down. You know, you could break it down into like a lot of different steps, that one little simple thing. And we do all this automatically. We don't think about it at all. But really that one simple thing that you did is a number of like a million little steps. So I think that goes for like everything, as far as like any type of goals you're trying to accomplish and stuff too. Um, so if you take something that you want to do, a goal you're trying to accomplish, whatever it is, like whether it's write a song or whatever, um, you can always break it down into smaller steps. And especially if you're having trouble doing something,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually when you're having trouble doing something, it's because you can't figure out how to make it into smaller steps. And there's usually ways of making it into smaller steps. You just might not know the process yet. So, like things that you do all the time, like say you and I, like we write songs all the time, right? So we don't really have to think about it too much because we're kind of like figured out that process. There's probably a lot of steps involved, but we don't have to think about the steps involved because we do them all the time. And every once in a while, you add a new step here or there, and you're like, "Oh, this is cool. This is part of my process now," you know. But really, if you, I don't know, if you break it down, it's something that getting in the habit of doing things makes it so that all those steps are part of your process, and it doesn't really feel like steps anymore. It's just like that's just the way you do things. Same way that we get up and get a glass of water, and really think of it as just one thing, but it's really a bunch of little things. So the same thing as you and I writing songs are really a bunch of little steps, but sometimes we see it as maybe only a few steps. But if there's a goal that you're trying to accomplish and you can't figure out how to do it, there's like, you know, a million different paths that you can take to get there. And, you know, you just got to try and figure out what those steps are to get there. And if you figure out the steps, then you can kind of write it out and figure out like, oh, if I get here, then I can get to there, then I can get to there, then I can get to there. Sometimes you hit little hiccups and curveballs and stuff that you have to deal with, but you still know that like this is the process of like where I'm trying to get to, you know? And I found that was like a helpful thing. I don't know, somehow I figured that out. I probably heard bits of that from other places somewhere too, um, to try and, you know, accomplish something. But I found
For
that
sure.
useful thing. Also, I was speaking to my friend Benjamin yesterday, and we were talking about like right now because of the, you know, pandemic, everybody's sitting holed up in apartments and homes and losing inspiration, like we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying sometimes he'll do something like rearrange his room, his production room. He's a um, composer for like film and TV, and sometimes he'll like rearrange his production room so that he can like turn, you know, if you're facing the other direction in your room, sometimes just that change of perspective can, you know, give you the inspiration, or you weren't inspired because you were sitting in the same spot for so long or whatever.
Okay.
I thought
Yeah,
that was interesting. Yeah.
for sure. My throat just got super, super dry. I'm about to go grab some water real fast.
Yeah, go grab a drink, man.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I was just looking at this bottle of water.
Yeah.
It'll be cool just to get like a bunch of bottles of water and just like you can like brand. That's a sneaky way to brand too. Like you can like throw your label on some bottles of waters just to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, you know what? If you're like I wonder if like bands do that at yeah, maybe. I don't know. If bands like at venues. So like let's say you're gonna sell bottles of water or whatever, beers or something at venues. They just like if all the drinks just had a sticker with your like a little tiny sticker with your like your band name on it or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like whatever your symbol is. That when people are taking photos or whatever at the venue, like you're in almost every photo with your
Yeah.
band. almost every photo. That'd be a creative idea.
Isn't there an amount of times people have to see something before they like check it out or something like that? Maybe like 9 times. Like they have to like see your name a few times before they even like click on the video. They're like, I be saying this all the time. Let
Hmm.
me check this out.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, there might be some kind of science to that. I don't know. For me, uh, if I see the same ad like 2 or 3 times, whether it's on Facebook or whatever, I'll just flag it. I'll just be like, "This is spam" or whatever, and just so I won't see it anymore. Um,
yeah, for sure.
so if I get to like three times, I don't want to see it anymore. But if I see something I like, the first time I see it, I'm gonna click on it probably. Whether it's a new band, sometimes they'll get like sponsored bands that are trying to get into other people's news feeds or whatever, and I'll see something new, and if it looks like something cool, I'll just click on it. And usually, a lot of the times, that just has to do with like colors and artwork. Something just has like a bunch of like really bright, different kind of vibrant colors and designs and patterns and stuff. To me, I don't know. That just seems interesting. It sparks like, does it look, you know, something looks slightly psychedelic or something. I'm like, I like, this person might be into like psychedelic music or whatever, and I don't know. I just find that to be a pretty good judge too. I mean, even if you go to a record shop and you're looking for records, uh,
Yeah,
just random records of things that you don't know, sometimes you just have to judge it by the cover. So like, yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes
yeah, yeah.
judge it.
We judge. Yeah, but people they should just throw that out somewhere. That phrase should just be just chunked and stumped on because
Sometimes
people
you
do
gotta,
it.
yeah,
We just gotta just be honest about it.
yeah.
You know.
I think um I think the saying makes sense because, like, yeah, you can see an album, like, you see an album cover, and you'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
it's gonna be so cool," and then you get home and the music is shit, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I guess don't judge a book by its cover," because I
yeah.
was,
And people are like kind of talking down on the music of this generation,
mhm,
but like it was all generations. Like what you just said. Like if you go to a record store and you grab like 10 random records,
yeah,
one is going to be really really good, and
mhm,
this may be like it's probably like a 63% that you're not even gonna get that one. That's
that's
gonna be
true,
good.
yeah,
You're gonna have like four decent ones,
mhm.
and then six are gonna be horrible.
It's true. I think it's true. Yeah, I think, and the more time goes on, the more the bad ones just get forgotten. They
Yeah,
just get lost in time. So people think, "Oh, music was so good back then. Remember this one? Remember that one? Remember this one?" Yeah, everybody remembers those because they were the biggest ones. Yeah, everybody remembers David Bowie. Yeah,
yeah, for
everybody,
sure. Yeah,
you know, and Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, everybody remembers him because he was fucking huge. You know, but yeah, all the little ones.
yeah,
So
like the like one of those bands like the Skull Sunflowers or something.
little, yeah, all the one-hit wonders or whatever. Like all that just get lost in the mix. And
I hope that's not a real band name. I was trying to I was trying to make something up, but that might be a real band.
it might be. Anything might be. Although I will say, if there's any you're gonna look it up. If there is any genre that you're really into though, like for me, I was really into prog rock for a while, and I did a deep dive, and I found all these not like they weren't famous bands. They never really made it big, just from the '60s and '70s. Um, and what was it? The Skull Sunflowers.
These
Man,
are Skull Sunflowers. I have never thought about that
dude,
at
that
all.
That is cool. Dude, we should make a band called the Skull Sunflowers and just make some dope shit. Look at this.
This is great.
Dude,
No
that's awesome.
lie, I think that might. Remember we were trying to find a duo name.
Yeah, dude.
I think we just found our duo name.
Dude, I think that's it. Dude, that can be an album cover for sure. Look at those things. I mean, even if you just had one or two of them, it would be dope. Look at that, dude. That's
Whoa,
what a creative it's I wonder how that randomly popped into your head.
I'm not sure.
It's just the I don't know.
It's kind of weird. I did have a sunflower. I was growing a sunflower, and it was like hunched over a little bit. So
Yeah, they get big and heavy.
Yeah, I was trying to put like a little like toothpick or something, and then I touched it, and the entire like top just came off, and I
Oh,
was I was devastated. I was
oh,
like, my sunflower. So maybe that's like maybe my sunflower spirit is in
oh.
the atmosphere right now.
Yeah, it's a dead sunflower, and that's what the skull came from because it's dead.
Yeah, and I got this skeleton shaker
Oh, that's a cool one. I like that.
right there too.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, dude, that is a cool. I think we might have to run with this. I think we might have to just kind of keep this the skull sunflowers, or even for just an album or something.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
skull sunflower, dude, that is friggin' awesome.
That reminds me of I was watching videos. I had to stop watching them because I'm easily taken down a rabbit hole
Oh yeah,
on stuff with anything. It could be like how ukuleles were made. I'll go down a deep rabbit hole on like just like random stuff
yeah.
or I'll try to figure out how they got street signs on every street through the entire country. I just think about like how long stuff like that takes. Like they got to do one, two, three. They have to do like blocks from like one up to like 70 in
Yeah.
like a straight line.
Yeah, it just starts with that first one. And then people,
Yeah,
yeah, because it starts on that first one, and then it just moves on and on from there, and then the roads are made, and then, yeah, and then once they're roads, people are like, I live on that road over there. Well, what road is that? Well, if that one's one, then I guess this one's like three because it's a couple up from there. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, that's the kind of rabbit holes I go down just thinking about stuff like that. So
sometimes you have to. I mean, like I was saying, I think it's good to follow whatever your interests are. If you find a rabbit hole and you're still interested, and you keep going down this rabbit hole, like I say, chase it. See how far the rabbit goes.
yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
I got into I was thinking about like New Orleans because I was listening to a Nice for What by Drake,
Yeah.
and he has that New Orleans like bounce sound, like
Hmm.
the in New Orleans bounce. And
Oh yeah.
I started looking up bounce music,
Hmm.
and then that led to second line music,
Hmm.
like New Orleans brass band, and then I was like, this sounds kind of voodoo-y, so I typed in New Orleans voodoo.
Oh yeah, man. No, New Orleans voodoo is like that. That's another level. That's like
Yeah,
where the voodoo goes down is New Orleans for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
There's
I was there was Madame Laveau.
I don't know who Madame LeBeau is,
Let me
but
see.
sure she did some voodoo.
Well, there was this. It was her too, but I'm gonna get to her. But it was I want to say yeah, right here, and let me make sure I cite my source. But uh, I think it's her. Yeah, I think it's her and her daughter. But they have like their tombs or are tourist attractions.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah, actually, New Orleans, they have a lot of there's a lot of mausoleums because the graves were, I think the graves were shallow. They were like buried at like maybe a foot. Yeah. They
yeah,
were
they're above ground. Yeah,
yeah, because they were buried below the ground, but because of all the flooding, um occasionally there'd be floods and then the dead bodies would come out of the ground because of the floods. And I think a lot of people speculate that that's where like the zombie uh you know rumors or whatever came from, is that like the dead bodies were coming up out of the ground because of the floods and stuff, and that's why they all need to be buried in mausoleums now.
yeah,
Or
for sure.
yeah, yeah. There's some really crazy crazy stuff. Mausoleums are cool though. There's something about them. Is that one with the pyramid? Go down with the one with the pyramid. Is that the one? I think. Click on the link. What does it say? Is that the one that what's his name? There's an actor that I think bought one for himself for when he dies. Uh
That is a pretty sweet one.
click on. Does it say anything at the bottom of that shot? It's kind of zoomed in. I can't see.
It just says Sean. It's Sean and Martin.
Who's
Let
the
me see.
actor? Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage bought himself a pyramid. I think that's it. I think he bought himself a pyramid mausoleum. Yeah, because it's.
Oh yeah.
Yep. See, I knew it. I knew it. I called it. But what does it mean? That thing means something in Latin, I think. Yeah, that was it. That was funny.
Let me see. Everything from one. The White Pyramid stands 9 feet tall and is inscribed with the words Omnia ab uno, meaning everything from one.
Yeah, I guess that's Latin, right? Or it seems Latin. Yeah. Interesting. Dude, you were talking about I just pulled up this session because you were talking about New Orleans punk. I just started doing this I think yesterday, the day before. Let me know if you hear this. I'll turn it
Yeah, I
down.
can hear it.
Oh, I should do a screen share too. I don't have many parts to it, but it's just, and they're all cheesy, sample horns or whatever. I didn't put any automation into it. I just took a dozen stack of horns. And then, yeah, same thing. But I just figured this is a funky little beat, and it reminded me of like the New Orleans style.
This is bumpy right here.
Thanks, man. I was thinking like some funk guitar with this and stuff too. I don't have the bass line too, but whatever. Yeah, that was just I saw that when you talking about the New Orleans funk, I was like instantly, I'm just like, oh, I have to show him this song.
Yeah, that's some cool stuff right there. That's bumpy right there though. You got like the cowbell with like the clave in the background.
Oh yeah, no, I had like a bongo,
Latin groove.
Yeah, like a bongo Latin groove, like bumping in there too. I was trying to do more before I started that, or when I started that song, I was trying to do more of this. Like, there's like it's like jungle beats, I guess it's called. I don't really know the genre, but it's I like these like bongos with like synths, like really like deep like drum and bass synths, and with like breakbeats and stuff. But you can also have like bongos in there. Like if you have the breakbeat not in it for a little bit and you have the bongos in there, it's like that's a dope sound. These bongos like with this like drum and bass like synth, like heavy synth sound. I don't know. It's got a cool vibe to it. I'm just like, oh, this is like funky as shit. And then I ended up, of course, changing them to horns because I'm like, oh no, wait, these need to be horns. And then I just started going crazy with the amount of layers of horns that was over the top. But yeah, that song needs some other parts to it for sure too, as well. It's just like a little loop I was screwing around with, but
that's super cool. I love a good like horn arrangement.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, like Perry Mason.
Sounds familiar. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, my grandma used to watch these shows. She used to watch Perry Mason, Streets of San Francisco, like those kind of shows. Let me see. Give myself another tab here. And Perry Mason had this super cool like theme song.
Dude, theme songs, like a good theme song.
We're Carvana, the company who invented car vending machines and buying.
Buzzkill, dude. Buzzkill.
That was good music though. I got a Royal Philharmonic Concert Orchestra, Park Avenue Beat. Park Avenue Beat. I'm gonna write that down. Park Avenue Beat.
Oh yeah.
Have you checked out or have you looked at any videos or checked out Logic Pro 10.5 yet? Just came out a couple days ago, I think.
Oh, no, I didn't check it out yet.
So there's like a couple new features in Logic Pro that are like what is it? I think it's so you can do live looping. You can use your cell phone or like an iPad as a remote now. And there's like a new sampler. I think it's a like new improved version of the EXS24. Yeah, that's it.
Whoa, this looks so cool.
Yeah, I think they're taking some ideas from Ableton and other programs, but I think the sampler is supposed to be a lot better. The live looping is supposed to be better, and the live looping is they were definitely testing it and using it because if you have a GarageBand on your phone, the live looping looks identical to that screen that you're showing right now.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what the live looping like, and you can see that you can trigger a row from top to bottom, like that. The ones that are lit up there towards the middle are like you can usually hit one at the top and it'll trigger a whole row, or you can click random ones throughout it. But I think it's gonna make it a bit more friendly for like live loopings, the name tells, but for live performance stuff, because like I don't know a lot of people that use Logic for live performance, but a lot of people use Ableton for live performance. So I think they're trying to kind of move in on that territory,
For sure. That's
Yeah.
super, super cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. I did hear a couple of things about certain plugins not working yet, though. So you probably want to be careful and maybe not download it right away until they work out the kinks. But certain, like I think just standard Logic plugins, a couple of them didn't work for some people that I know. And they installed the new version of Logic Pro 10.5, and then they tried to open an older session, and some of the plugins weren't operating for some reason. But and I don't know which ones specifically, but might be worth waiting a little bit until they work out those things. Whenever there's a new program that releases, there's like 10.5, and then usually within the first couple weeks,
Yeah, throw 11 out there.
you're 10.5.1, it'll be like a
Yeah.
little extra .1 at the end of it, just so that they update the beta version of whatever it was. They got to test it, right, and hear all the problems that people have.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. But
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
excited to check it
Crazy
out.
stuff. Yeah, like coding and developing. Like
Mhm.
I think I would say that is in some ways similar to like writing a classical piece for orchestra. It's like the technical version of that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you gonna make some little mistakes here and there, like you probably like messed up on the harmony, especially if you write it for like 32 instruments or 64 instruments.
yeah,
No, yeah.
Unless you're Jacob Collier, that guy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's on another level when it comes to harmonies.
Yeah, yeah,
Big
super, super cool.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think as far as the coding is like another language. I just can't. I don't know how people do it. I guess it's they're just going down that rabbit hole for them. They're just super interested in it, and you just keep going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, for sure. I had a pretty good computer teacher in high school though, Mr. Burns.
Oh yeah.
We did this volcano code. It was we like made a website about volcano, and they took you through the process, but it was never launched. You just you built your website, and it was like in a Word document. We were using what's like the default if you don't have Microsoft Word on PC, but you use this. I think it's called Notepad
Oh, I don't
or
know.
something like that.
I don't know because I've been on Apple for like over a decade now. So.
Yeah, for sure. Just double check, but yeah, I want to say it's called Notepad, and we're just coding in Notepad, but you'll save that file as a document, and then you'll click it, and it'll open up in Internet Explorer.
Oh wow.
And it was like the website and like they had like all the different codes for the colors that you use and the font that you use.
Hmm.
So it's pretty interesting.
Oh, that's pretty cool for like web design.
It was this was like old school though. This
Yeah.
was like straight up HTML, and it was like HTML. I want to say it was probably HTML2 that we were using.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was like the Windows right before Windows 7 came out.
Damn, that's crazy. That's pretty cool. I never knew really much how to do any coding. To be honest, closest I came is I bought a little Arduino. It's funny, I just got rid of it yesterday. But this little Arduino, which is, you know, what Arduino is.
No.
It's it's like a little circuit board like this big that you could buy. It's like less than $50 or whatever, and it's just like the most basic circuit. But then you can program it to do stuff, or like you can put in wire. You can wire things into it, um, and it's really it's basically if you're learning like electrical engineering or programming for like devices.
Hmm.
It's like the first thing that people get is an Arduino because it's like a pre-built circuit board that you can get, um, and it's pretty. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I forget I had the Uno. That's the one I had right in the middle. Yeah, um, and basically it's that thing, right? And then it's got a power cable that you plug into it or a battery that you can put into it. And I think it was a battery, and and yeah, you can hook up. So see that one in the middle, the R3 has a USB thing on it. Um, you can like wire other things into it, and it's pretty interesting. Um,
That's super cool.
yeah, you can like you can arrange, you can build little devices. You can, you know, build you might have to buy a little extension. So like you might need it to buy like a 5-pin jack, but then you can make like a 5-pin jack MIDI. You can make a like a recording interface, like a USB recording interface. You just got to buy a 1/4-inch jack, wire it in, and do the proper wiring and programming within it. Um, but yeah, if you're gonna try and learn how to make anything, or if you want to make anything, you know, that's the way to do it. I had one sitting in a shoebox for like years because I never really figured out how to work it. So I just gave it to my friend who's trying to he's starting to build synthesizers, and he's trying to get one up and running in the next like month or so. And I know he needs extra parts and little things like this, so I just gave it to him, and he stopped by yesterday. And yeah,
For sure.
Sev, that's Sev. Yeah, Sev's a cool guy. He's very handy when it comes to technologies and stuff like that. He likes to be creative.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's super cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty crazy, yeah. Like yeah, just like knowing where to even start with this.
Yeah, I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue about any of that stuff. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Um,
Is
really.
there like a static electricity thing though? Like do you have to wear like some like sort of like covers over your shoes or something before you touch it?
No, I think if you're going to be working on it, if you're going to be soldering or something, there's like a little clip that you put on it. It's like a static clip or something, I
All
think,
right.
so that it like grounds any static electricity that's going through it, so that you don't short out any of the parts.
That's
Uh,
super cool right there.
yeah, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so that's how to make an LED.
Whoa.
Right. So you can, and then you can program it to say whatever you want or whatever. Um,
That's pretty crazy right there.
yeah, I just never, I mean, that's a lot of wiring and figuring things out. That's a rabbit hole that I'm not willing to go all the way down.
Yeah. And then that could lead to
It's a lot.
it's like our eyeballs are wired the same way, and then you start looking at eyeball wiring.
Oh shit. Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah,
That's,
you know,
well, that
it's
would,
like crazy stuff.
yeah, because if you get really creative with something like that, then you can probably start, you know, really implementing some creative ideas that you have about what the world might need, right? If you get really good at doing stuff like
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Yeah.
Like, I wish I had a device that did this, and then you just make it. You're like, fuck it, it doesn't exist. I'll just create one right now. That would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that would be super cool. And that's how you get a trillion too, just doing something just crazy.
Yeah, I
Just
think you
yeah.
gotta. I think you gotta have. Yeah, that's how you become a trillionaire. You gotta. You gotta. I think you have to pursue a lot of different avenues. I
Yeah.
think to become a trillionaire, you don't just do one, not just one. I think that's got to be many different avenues. And the higher up you get, or the more success you get in any of them, the more you need to keep trying to do that. Like always, be going in a lot of different directions. But also that costs a lot of money too. So
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's a whole process.
Yeah. But yeah, like stuff like that. I was speaking of trillionaires,
Mhm.
I was reading about Jeff Bezos. He predicted he was gonna get a trillion in 2026.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was like, I got 6 years.
trying to beat him.
Yeah, to get a trillion.
Dang, dude, he's been working on it for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. But no, like he kind of creeped up on Bill Gates and everybody like that. Like they had money for super long, and he just popped up
Oh
at
yeah.
Amazon just with 100 billion. So I know it's possible to like jump up
Well, I think
fast like that.
that's what happens when you create a company that's so widely like it's a distributing company. It's not even a like Amazon as a brand is like okay, there's Amazon Video and stuff like that. I'm sure there's Amazon products, but as far as like what it's making all its money on is distribution. It's not really even a um people go online to buy if they just did one product like shoes or whatever, and then you go online, you buy shoes, and you're like, oh, I get Amazon shoes or whatever the fuck because they're
Hmm.
cool, the price is good, or I get them in a day or whatever the fuck the reason is. But if you go on online and use Amazon, it's like you can get literally you can buy almost anything that you want, and you're probably going to get your best prices if you go on Amazon. You'll definitely
Yeah,
get it quicker, and that's just like that's how they took over the market. That's crazy.
yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
You think they could like take out the grocery stores?
I mean, it's looking that way, especially right now, considering that like everybody has to. A lot more people are getting like grocery delivered right now because they don't want to go outside. They don't want to go to the grocery stores. They think it's dangerous, and you know, um, even for older people or whatever, um, whether or not this is over, like they're going to continue to do that. A lot of people are doing it already. There's like DoorDash and stuff that'll go do your grocery shopping for you, like um, which is kind of like the Uber of grocery shopping. It's like just a, you know, DoorDash, you can order food from restaurants, but also like they'll go do grocery shopping for you and stuff, which is, I think it's good, but I don't know. That's crazy. Yeah, I wonder if Amazon will take over the market. I don't know. I'm hoping there's going to be a resurgence in like smaller homegrown, um, farmers market type stuff, supporting local, because it's just, think certain things, if they become harder to get, it would be better to support local grown stuff
Yeah,
anyway.
for sure. Yeah, it's going that way too.
It's better to support local business and stuff. So I'm hoping there's going to be things like that, but I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna
Yeah.
have to check Simpsons episodes and see if that's.
Yeah, check the Simpsons.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that's what's in our future. I hope it is. I hope so.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you had yeah. Speaking of growing again, yeah, you showed me this interesting mushroom documentary,
Oh yeah, fantastic
and
fungi.
I was just watching it like, whoa, and then that led me down a short mushroom rabbit hole.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, fantastic fungi. If anybody's interested, please go watch that. You could buy it online, or you might be able to find it streaming now or something. But fantastic fungi is like one of the best documentaries on mushrooms that I've ever seen. It's awesome. Oh yeah, those look like psychedelic mushrooms too. Um, yep, yeah. I'm growing right now. Let's see if I can show this on my screen, or actually, it's on my phone. But here, you know what? Let me just email it to myself real quick while you're showing this video.
Try to do a nice skim through. I gotta get my skim through game up.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to be able to like skim a. It's funny. People say that in music licensing, that's kind of, you have to like, if you're trying to pitch your song for music licensing, you have to try and arrange your song knowing that people are going to skim it like that, because the music supervisors don't have time to like listen to your whole song. So you're going to inevitably, people are just going to be skimming through your song. So if you have like the rises and stuff and the right spots and the transitions, and like every 4 bars something changes a little bit, even if it's the same part, it loops over, like maybe there's another little shaker, another little instrument in that next
Yeah, for
4
sure.
bars. So it's a slightly different, or like a little, I don't know, the people look for all different things, especially in music licensing. But it just reminded me of that while you were skimming the video.
Okay. Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh, okay. That's it. That's probably where you can see it. Yeah. So this is this is the mycelium. This is growing in a this is just like in coffee grounds and oatmeal that I grew it in. And I bought the mushrooms the mushroom spawn in a little baggie. I bought it online for blue oyster mushrooms, and then these are the little things growing right here. This is probably about the size of like maybe almost the size of like a lemon or lime or something. But yeah, like 3 days ago, they were just like these little tiny dots like that, and they're growing pretty fast. So yeah, I'll send you more pictures once they're all once they're all done fully grown. I'm gonna do a whole photo shoot, man. I'm so proud of them. This is the first time, dude. The first 3 tubs that I tried to make, they got like other things growing in them, and I kind of screwed it up. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's all part of, it's a learning process, right? I mean, it's all part
Yeah.
of like the obsession of learning something new, is you're going to not be great at it in the beginning. So, but it's fun. And now I'll be able to like grow some mushrooms that I can actually eat. I'm excited to do that, like mushroom tacos, or put them in an omelet or something. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, I appreciate you, Dan.
Dude, thanks so much for having me on this first one. I really appreciate it. And dude, I look forward to watching some other ones. And anytime you want, I'll do another one. Let's do this.
All right, for sure. Yeah, appreciate it. Let me see. I'm gonna do a quick end.
Yeah.